Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Creefer Rogers-Wright, Director of Environmental Justice with New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you in person. I'm currently attending the 27th Annual Conference of the Parties Global Climate Conference taking place this year in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Nonetheless, I'm very excited for this opportunity to speak with you briefly about some ideas of how to best ensure that environmental justice is incorporated into your initiatives to increase renewable energy sources economy-wide in New York State. As proud members of the New York Renew Steering Committee, the coalition that brought forth the landmark Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which mandates 40% of climate investments directed to disadvantaged communities, we know that this is a critical moment to ensure that we are increasing equity and justice contemporaneously. We must not repeat the same mistakes of the past when Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color have been excluded and flat out ostracized from the process. The good news is we do not have to start from scratch. We already have amazing examples of what a truly just transition can and must look like. For instance, our friends Uprose, based in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, started the first community solar program in the state of New York in one of the poorest communities in New York to boot. Additionally, our good friends at Push Buffalo have shown us the way to ensure that we electrify many communities and households equitably and inclusively. What makes the Uprose and Push Buffalo models so successful is the fact that they are rooted in inclusion, building off the existing leadership in these communities, which of course includes the voices and wisdom of young people who we are renting this planet from. It is important that we scale up and scale out the examples to ensure that no one is left behind in this transition. I am very encouraged by our partners at NYSERDA, as well as members of the ACE community's commitment to ensuring that environmental justice is a primary goal rather than a secondary or tertiary afterthought. As mentioned, the CLCPA mandates 35% minimum, and with a goal of 40% of all climate investments are directed to disadvantaged and other environmental justice communities. One way that we can ensure that this happens is to employ the principles of energy democracy, which I'd like to talk to you very briefly about. The first principle deals with universal access and social justice. This ensures that we are not just replacing a fossil fuel empire with a renewable energy empire and making sure that there's absolute inclusion in every single step that we take. The second principle has to do with making sure that the renewable and sustainable energy is localized. This means that we can look at models of decentralizing the grid, cooperative models, which I'll get to in a moment, because that deals with the third principle of energy democracy, which is public and social ownership. This is what we can learn from our friends at Uprose, cooperative models, models that make sure that the jobs that are being created, which is the fourth principle, fair pay and creation of green jobs, as well as making sure that we are also creating green businesses to ensure that generated revenue stays in the communities to the greatest extent possible. And the final principle of energy democracy is democratic control and participation. We must make sure that we are not sacrificing communities in the same way that the fossil fuel industry currently does. And this way, we can ensure that we have a holistic approach that includes participation, leadership, and ownership of our just and energy transition. It's imperative to this end that we collectively press the Climate Action Council to expedite the finalization of disadvantaged community determinations. Unfortunately, we have heard that it may not be possible to do this until March or April of 2023, which we know is way too long, as federal investments as part of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework, as well as the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act, is already allocating money. We cannot have a repeat like we saw with the New Deal, which prevented many communities, Black, Brown, Indigenous, and poor, from creating and maintaining generational wealth. To this end, we very much look forward to partnering with you, including our friends at NYSERDA, led by the capable and very, very powerful and thoughtful Doreen M. Harris. As we move forward together, let us ensure that we are moving from the past and creating a future that is full of inclusion, that is full of renewable energy, and full of energy democracy. I look forward to partnering with you as well as my organization and the members of the 300 plus strong New York Renews Coalition to ensuring that we are making a just transition rather than just a transition. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you. I hope you have a great remainder of your conference, and let's go get this justice together. Thanks so much.